tell us, like in your words, like about your style and how you developed that.
Okay. Well, I really like edgy pictures.
Yes.
And I really like to have a lot of feeling with our seniors, with our clients, no matter who it is. I like them to mean something. And commercially, we have other styles too. We do softer looking pictures, but where I really resonate with what I do is the edgy things with, using lighting and kind of cool backgrounds, or just making sure that people have a lot of intent on their face. I love expression in photography. So
absolutely. And a lot of the things that I'm going to pause you for a second, but I'll remember you wanted to go, Michelle. One of the things that we love to highlight in the Whcc booth at a lot of trade shows is your sports images.
Right.
And because they're so edgy and gritty, and the lighting is so good on them. Do you lend yourself a little bit more towards like that style versus the soft and flowy? And
yeah, I do. It's just more dynamic. And I love working with athletes, whether they're boys or girls. And that is something that's kind of unique about us because we shoot a lot of guys in our studio. I would say almost 50-50, which is neat because you think mostly girls like their senior pictures, but we love shooting guys and girls that are seniors that are into sports because it's something that they're really into. So we're able to get a lot with their facial expressions and just get a lot of really cool dynamic pictures when they're into something. And it's something usually that they've been doing for a lot of years.
Right.
So I don't know, I just like it. We like adding water, smoke, different things to make sure that the pictures just really come across to show the power that they really have inside, show their dynamic selves.
I like how you light up when you talk about that, like when you talk about like the power inside of them and the passion and like the things that they truly love. Like I can see you get excited along with them, which that's amazing. So Michelle, what were you going to say? I don't want to move on past you.
I was going to say that we love an edgy style, but we also do have a constraint, and that is that like if we were a sports photographer and we wanted to take an amazing photo of a football player, we could do whatever we wanted, but in these circumstances, we also want to make sure that the light or whatever we're using, even though the style is edgy, is flattering. Like we want our girls to be beautiful, our guys to be handsome. It's important to us, that they are, they feel very good about themselves.
Yes.
And so, all of their images, we want the cool image, but we also want the beautiful face.
Yes,
we can.
Absolutely. That's a really good point. So you were kind enough to photograph your son.
Right.
And give us some pullbacks, because when I was talking to you, I'm like, your lighting is so good, it'd be cool to see like what your setup is. So we have some images that you sent us of your son, and I believe a volleyball.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And he's making some good
had.
expressions in here. But if we freeze, actually, if we could go back to that one once, Lucas, the multi-light setup. When you're doing that, when you have your kicker lights, you have your main light, your hair light. Tell us, like, what is your typical setup when you're getting this awesome lighting that you're doing?
So Michelle and I like to have 2 of the strip lights on the back. This is just like a basic setup.
Okay.
And once you get the basic setup, then you can start adding other components in. I think a lot of people do that, but she'll usually be walking around with that main light is where we're usually typically moving in front of the subject, but that's a 3x4 square, I would say, with a grid on it. We have a double diffuser and a grid.
So does your main light have feet then, or is it on a stand?
It's on a stand.
Okay.
But,
Your feet.
but frequently my feet too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and that's important. I guess we can talk about it, but a lot of what our style is Michelle, because she's holding it over the subject to the side of the subject. As they move, she is tweaking that light or going underneath the subject with that main light, which is consistently giving you that really cool edge. Or a lot of times I like to take it way to the side to get that edge. But we have those 2 back long strip lights usually, and then most of the time I would say we change our modifiers, we change things, but as like a standard, we have a long, probably like a 3x5. Just panel
from head to toe.
Which is
for the fill.
Yeah.
filled from head to toe so that the feet are visible.
So you're not
the light on the right.
in the studio and on location, you're not cutting any corners. Like you are adding light and adding punch and doing everything necessary to create all this dynamic effect. Doesn't matter where you're at.
Right.
Yeah. So you travel light is what you're trying to say.
No. Yeah. There's nothing light or anything cool looking about us carrying all the lights everywhere, you know.
A lot of clunking. Yeah.
But to get the effects and the style that you're achieving, that's what you have to do. And you're working for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
because that's really a minimum.
Right.
You know, like the 4 lights.
Normally you just
frequently.
bring a semi full of gear with?
Well, you always can think, well, maybe I could use another one.
Right, exactly. So then give us an idea of like how long does a session typically last? Are we talking about a half a day, longer? Like what?
It depends on what we're doing, but typically a lot of our high school seniors, as we've talked about, a lot of them are athletes of some kind, or they're into something that's kind of, athletic or something that's kind of cool. So a lot of our sessions, we will do a studio session with some kind of cool dynamic lighting, or have them inside and maybe a formal wear or something like that. And then we also go on location. That's not true for every session, but a lot of times that is. So I would say just a basic session is going to last about 3 hours because we've got travel, we've got in-studio setups, we've got outdoor setups that Michele and I work on together and that type of thing. But yeah.
Time for the clients to change. And, so.
And just get settled too.
Right.
Not pushing them to go too fast and allowing you time to be creative.
Right.
So when we were talking prior to your visit here, you said something that it really stuck with me, and I want you to clarify it for everybody that's listening today. So how is your edgy style true to yourself? Because you said that specifically on the call that day. How does that fit Kara?
I think that I just don't, for me personally, I wasn't expecting this question, but I like to push the edges of things. I don't like the normal. Like if I look at something and everybody else has done it, or everybody else is doing it exactly the same, then I don't want to do it. I want something that is above and beyond. And even when I was looking at these pictures, I was like, I want to do something different. I want to push that edge a little further. Could we go further on this, or could we go further on that? So I guess it's just, you're like that too. Yeah. But we want to do something that we love. And if I don't love it and I don't resonate with it, then why am I doing it?
That's awesome.
But
and I hope
that's why I like the edge.
Yeah, for sure. And I hope that everybody listening today really heard that, because like what you're doing internally and with your mom, you guys push each other. And you're constantly, looking at these images and the work and the detail and lighting that goes into them. You're probably looking at all of them being like, yeah, I could have done this different. I could have made this better. I could have done, you're probably those people, I'm assuming, but that's what makes you amazing. And when we have your images in the booth, people stop and look at them, they're like, wow, that's just incredible. The attention to detail is phenomenal.
But there's one thing Kara didn't mention that I think is true of her also, is that she's emotionally connected to her clients. And so when she sees a client and, it's a football player or a baseball player, they put their heart into it. They've been driven their hours every day, missed dinners. She wants to show the pride of achievement for that client. It's like your heart too, that you want that client to have that beautiful memory of what their family has accomplished together for all those years.
Absolutely, because there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into
huge amount.
Yeah.